War 3.0. ISIL versus the USA. War 3.0. ISIL versus the USA. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Political Buzz Network. This is Laurel. Today I want to address the issue of war. Yes, World War III. I'm not being a pessimist. I'm not a person who's a conspiracy theorist predicting doomsday upon our nation. But the inevitable is obvious. The recent attacks that occurred in Paris, France, the second major terrorist attack in less than 1 year that recently occurred in Paris, France, in which more than 129 innocent people were murdered. Do you think that was just something that happened on a whim? That was something that was random? That these were just some random suicide bombers that just decided to take upon themselves to blow up more than 100 people? No, it was a planned, orchestrated, calculated attack. And ISIL has already claimed responsibility. In fact, ISIL immediately claimed responsibility. ISIL is luring the USA into World War III. ISIL doesn't really care about Middle East militaries. They don't care about the Syrian military or the Saudi Arabian military or the Jordanian military or the French military. They want us. We are the target. The United States military is what ISIL wants. We are the target. Now, do I believe that there's someone within the U.S. government that has been targeting our troops, helping to disable and dismantle the greatest military on planet Earth, which is the U.S. military? Do I believe that there are some moles in our U.S. government, maybe even in the White House and in Congress, who are helping and probably being paid very well to help dismantle and to weaken the U.S. military? Yes. I don't care what you call me. Conspiracy theorist, crazy person, I don't care. It's obvious. Look at the number of U.S. military, U.S. Army paratroopers and special rangers who are being injured, falling out of planes, dying. Yes, you do expect a certain number of injuries when soldiers are training for missions. You expect a certain number, perhaps even of casualties of soldiers who are training for dangerous missions. That's to be expected because human error is at play. But there's a big difference between an expected number of troops to be perhaps injured during a training mission versus troops that are being murdered. Parachutes being intentionally loosened or not opening during paratrooping exercises. Planes and helicopters, Black Hawks, falling out of the sky because they've been tampered with. I don't care what you say about me coming up with these conspiracy theories. They're not conspiracy theories. You explain to me how our military, which is one of the greatest training forces on planet Earth, can just have these frequent accidents. They were planned. But our military can't be afraid. Our U.S. military leaders can't be afraid. Our politicians can't be afraid of ISIL. ISIL can be defeated. ISIL can be defeated. They are not God. ISIL was not God. I know they're striving to attain world domination status, but they can be defeated because ISIL, even though ISIL is a very well organized terrorist group or terrorist organization, they're much more so organized than Al Qaeda ever was. Even though ISIL is a very well trained and very well organized terrorist group, they're not as organized and as tactical. I repeat, ISIL is not as organized and as tactical in their missions and training and in their strategies as the U.S. military, the greatest military force on planet Earth. So is ISIL luring the USA into a war in the Middle East? Yes, they are. They want to get our troops and behead them. They want to behead our troops. They want to bring us to our knees. We can't let them. We can't let them. There will be a World War III. It's inevitable. I'm not trying to frighten anyone, because I'm not a person who's a war hawk. I'm not a war hawk. I don't believe in going to war based upon propaganda and lies for the purpose of war profiteering contracts. I'll say it again. I'm not a war hawk. I don't believe in going to war for the purpose of making money off of soldiers' dead bodies via war profiteering contracts. But these frequent attacks all over the world by ISIL, the Islamic State, beheading our American citizens, recruiting young women from the U.S., turning young women and girls into sex slaves, attacking our allies, taunting us, saying, come and get us. We're ISIL. Come and get us. We dare you. We dare you, U.S. military. At some point, we have to strategize and go at them. Yes, I know cooler heads must prevail. I know that. We don't go into war with a hot head. I know that. Everyone should know that. Cooler heads must prevail when you're strategizing. But to sit back and do nothing and ignore the obvious and the inevitable, as if we're afraid, and say, well, that's not our problem, that's in the Middle East. No, it's not. France is not in the Middle East. Is France in the Middle East? Is Paris, France in the Middle East? No, it's not. It's a European country. So what are we going to do? What's next? What are we going to do? Continue to let ISIL immigrants, or let immigrants from the Middle East come over here to our country? Or even from other countries where they have a large, population of citizens from Middle Eastern countries, where they've immigrated from the Middle East to Europe, and then they're coming from Europe to the USA to migrate, and they're coming over here with great technology hacking skills. They know how to hack into our networks over here in the U.S. because they've been trained from children how to hack into American networks. Then they come over here and wreak more havoc. No, I'm not being prejudiced. I'm not being racist. I'm not being racist. I don't hate people from the Middle East. I don't hate anyone at all, not even from the Middle East. But I'm not going to be foolish and ignore the obvious and what could be. So it's okay to profile me because I'm black. It's okay to profile black people, but it's not okay to profile people who may be ISIL recruits. I said maybe. But you can look at me and just profile me immediately without even knowing me. But you don't want to profile people who may be ISIL recruits. World War 3. War 3.0. ISIL versus the USA. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. I'm not predicting doomsday. But the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall. And yes, terrorism should be. Counterterrorism should be a 2016 major platform issue. If it's not, then it's a mistake for it not to be. We have taxes, education, jobs, fixing the U.S. economy. All of those issues are important issues, and they're on the 2016 election platform. But let's add one more. However, let's add one more. Counterterrorism, ISIL, defeating ISIL. Hillary Clinton was right. ISIL cannot be contained any longer. They never were contained, really. They never were really contained. They must be defeated, and they can be defeated. Ben Carson was correct. They can be defeated. Jeb Bush is correct. They can be defeated. let's consider this. War 3.0. ISIL versus the USA. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in today to the Black Political Buzz Network. This is Laura speaking, and goodbye.